without further ado, spawning at the bottom right, we have our red Terran player representing Shopify Rebellion. Give it up for Byun.
Right, on the top left, we have Kaiji Gaming's Time, the Chinese representative, one of the most dominant Chinese players in the scene currently. And it'll be interesting whether they're going to go double gas to begin with. And Time is actually, both players are actually going double gas, so they're going to take a very safe approach. They're not going to risk going Reaper CC and then get manhandled in the early game. So this is all going to boil down to the micromanagement of the early game units and how much they can utilize those to exploit the opposition and try to gain as much advantage as possible. And then they transition into the mid phase of the game.
Yeah, and both of these players are quite kind of made their playstyle staple in their micro, right? So we can kind of really anticipate maybe a micro war in this kind of this early game. Certainly in the I'm expecting some really great micro in the if not in this game, at least in the second or third or fourth or fifth game. Both of these guys are just too good to just like not just like show off their sweet micro. But anyhow, looks like we both both players are kind of go for the same thing here, same opening, factory opening, Reapers as well, and looks like Byun will be making the first move across the map.
Yeah, the difference was that Time immediately started the reactor first instead of producing the initial Reaper, whereas Byun is just producing Reapers without any add-ons from the Rex. So, it will be interesting to see how he's going to utilize that reactor in a bit after producing those initial number of Reapers. So Byun basically stops at double Reapers, and Time is actually going for 4 Reapers instead. Because usually when they take a safe approach, like for instance, like Cure, he will usually go for the 5 Reaper plus 2 Hellions to kind of stop any sort of aggressive movement coming out of his opposition, and also try to gain the tempo by controlling the map. But in this case, they kind of shifted away from that aspect, and as you can see, Byun going only double Reapers followed by immediate reactor marine production and Cyclone for the safety bout.
Yeah, Cyclone, of course, one of those units that are pretty good defensively to start off the game with. It's like kind of very, very versatile. It can kind of pretty much hold on to against anything, whether you throw at Orko or you throw Reapers or Hellions at it. It's just like, it seems to be one of those units that tend to do great defensively. Anyhow, it looks like we have a bunch of Reapers and Hellions coming out of Time. Will be look like momentarily looking to go across the map. Okay, there we go. Finally moving across the map. By the way, some of you guys are a little bit confused as to like the score and like was this best of what number of best of series this is. This is a best of 5 series indeed, and we are in game 1, so score is 0-0, and we do have Time actually playing it pretty passively, which I'm a little bit surprised, because usually with opening up with this many Reapers and Hellions, you would usually see the Terran player move across the map, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think what his intention is that because Byun is such an aggressive player, he's just going to utilize those for defensive purposes. But as you can see, Byun already has a siege tank, so the Reapers and Hellions can't really do much against this composition coming out from Byun. And right now, Byun also has the positional advantage as well. Like, there's no how Time can approach that siege tank without taking a substantial amount of damage. And as you can see, like, Time's combat units have been completely obliterated. And also, he's taking damage at his natural because of that stellar tank position coming out from Byun. So, I mean, Byun basically has this game in his palms. All he has to do is just completely grasp it.
Yeah,
like this amount of damage like coming out from the early phase, like for a player caliber like Byun, I don't think he's gonna let it slip away. And once again, the Cyclone has been taken down as well, and there's really no defensive units available for Time at this point, even though he has the 2 Ravens, but they're all out of energy essentially. Probably can use only 1 auto turret, but I don't think that's going to be enough to hold on to this onslaught coming out from Byun. And Byun also, you know, being on top of his macro, is already getting his 3rd command center under construction as well. So.
Oh, does snipe off Time's remaining tank, so pretty much Byun is gonna probably starting to snowball here as the 2nd tank does arrive into the fight. However, Time does have 1 more tank to kind of make the last hold here, but auto turret does get on top of it, and that forces Time to tap on out Byun with the game 1 victory.
So it's understandable that he tapped out that quickly. We'll see whether he can bounce back in this next game.
Yep, it's going to be on Jagannatha, and here we go, ladies and gentlemen. This player here spawning at the bottom left. He's our red Terran player, up 1-0 and looking to extend his lead to 2-0. From Shopify Rebellion, it is Byun.
Alright, on the 1 o'clock position, top right corner, is the blue Terran representing Kaiji Gaming. It's Time. Let's see what kind of adjustments he's gonna bring on the fly in terms of his game plan. And also, Jagannatha, this map is actually quite complex because, you know, by eye test, it looks like the distance between the bases are pretty distant, but because of those acceleration zones, like in the middle of the map and also on the left and right centers, that can really change the landscape of the games too. So. And both players just going double gases again. So seems like 1 Rex Reaper CC is no longer in meta.
Yep.
Which is understandable because like you get punished so hard if you go if you try to be greedy and go 1 Rex Reaper CC against like these kind of aggressive players. So they all know what's at stake in regards. Like how much risk there will be if they were to use that game plan. So
yeah,
totally understandable.
Yeah, it almost kind of reminds me of a PvP where, like, yeah, you know, you can maybe from time to time get away with a gateway into Nexus, but I mean the safer choice and the common choice is probably to open up with double gateways instead to start off the game, because there's so much things that kind of can be thrown your way, and you want to make sure you have at least something to defend.
Yeah, and they're just playing just completely identical. They're having the same number of SCVs on the refineries. Basically, you're building the same thing. Only difference is like Time CC started like a couple of seconds earlier, but that's not the biggest deal of the world. So yeah, they're just basically, you know, playing a true mirror match, not just in terms of the race, but also in just in terms of the game plan itself.
Yeah, it looks like we have a little bit of a deviation with Byun. I'm gonna go ahead and place the tech lab on his factory, probably to go for that Cyclone once again, while Time, on the other hand, gonna open up with a Hellion first before going for that Cyclone. Looks like he will switch off the barracks for that tech lab, so looks like he will finally follow that up with a Cyclone there.
Yeah, it's just trying to, it's just respecting Byun's aggression once again. You know, having that Hellion there is a measure, as a safety valve measure against like those early Reaper pushes. So as long as you micro them properly, so you're just trying to be as safe as possible in that regard. And also following up with a Cyclone makes sense because if the opposing Terran tries to, you know, utilize medevac as the early aggression, then Cyclones are really optimal at shutting that down with ease as well. Although now Time is trying to, you know, seek something using the Banshee, but I don't think he's gonna get cloaked. So he's probably gonna poke here and there, try to get some scout off, and then if he can pick off some SCVs, great. If not, then whatever. But that's extra gas invested into that Banshee, meaning that his Raven timing is going to be slower than that of Byun's. So Byun's going to have one opportunity within the next couple of minutes to really exploit if he's going for multiple Ravens at this point.
Yeah, of course, the Raven, very, very useful. Will provide the vision for those Banshees, assuming he went for Cloak, but looks like you mentioned, not going for Cloak. But either way, he should at least have the Cyclone to deal with that. And if it's out of position, at least their auto turret of the Raven can help defend. But here we go, the first Banshee of time making its way into the natural of Byun very, very soon. And let's see how many SCVs he can take down.
I'll say at least 3. That's 2. That's 3.
And you get a 4th one. Looks like he will.
Yep, there's the 4th. So I was 1 off, unfortunately. But basically, Time also navigated with the Banshee and witnessed the absence of 3rd CC, so he should be totally aware of what's coming, and he immediately swapped the Rex and Starport to produce double Vikings. So he knows what's coming at this point. It's just now a matter of time when Byun's going to move out and how he's going to play it. But he drops the 3rd CC, which is substantially later than that of Time. So he really needs to utilize his combat units to gain momentum. Otherwise, Time's just gonna, utilize his economic advantage and just pull away from this game. But Time wisely using his Cyclones plus Hellion Reaper to buy some time, try to delay the move out coming out from Byun. And Byun also try to navigate when Time is going to take his 3rd using those initial 2 Reapers and a Cyclone as well.
It looks like the Reaper of Time did scout the move out of Byun, so he knows that this is at this point where Byun is starting to move out. Oh, actually, does get intercepted by these couple of Byun's units that was across the map there. So nicely done. And it looks like the point of contention will be at this 3rd base, maybe. Oh, actually, it looks like Byun's going to circumvent that, head straight into the natural.
Yeah, because he's going to know that Time's going to be ready at the 3rd, so he's trying to hit the weak point. And also, there are a lot of positional positions that Byun can take advantage of at this natural. All right, thus far, both Ravens survived, so that's a very good news for Byun. It's going to be difficult for Time to really break through unless he can gun down all those Ravens and Vikings to gain that vision advantage.
Oh my goodness. A little bit careless here by Byun, losing some of his Marines to those tanks as well. Unfortunately, also losing those Ravens, and as well as some of the rally is actually going through the tank line. Looks like it will be safe for the time being, as momentarily Time does unsiege there. But he needs to fix his rally. Okay, there we go.
Yeah, I think Time can really stabilize here, but Byun already up 4 workers, already activating his 3rd base. So, as long as all of these tanks don't get annihilated with Time not losing everything, then Time can be also in a commanding position at this point. So Byun's got to be really meticulous with his siege tanks, because if he loses all of these, then a counterattack is a real possibility for Time, and there isn't much for Byun to really retaliate against that counterattack. So he's wisely pulling back, just leaving a single siege tank just to for the contain. Time took a significant amount of damage there trying to pick off that one tank, and he lost about 3 Vikings right there. So Byun immediately knowing that he has the Viking advantage, so he's immediately going for the contain once again at the 3rd.
Oh, this is going to be tough. Those siege tanks of Byun are in range of that 3rd command center of Time, and he really can't, kind of push on forward to defend, as he just doesn't have enough tanks for that.
It's gonna be all in for time, like using these DoubleDBchoi. Now the double medevac drop takes down the CC. So now all time has to do is really just hold, but he loses his CC of his own. Immediately reconstructs it at the 12 o'clock position, but that vision advantage from Byun is just coming in so clutch, like losing so many siege tanks.
Oh, but it looks like Time is setting up what possibly could be a flank, a sandwich of some sort. If he can clean up the rest of these tanks, then possibly he can. I mean, he's still pretty much in the game. I mean, he has equal amount of workers. But the problem is that he did lose his third CC, and I think that. Oh, actually, you know what? As I say that, yeah, it looks like Byun also lost his third CC.
Yeah, both players lost their third CCs.
Yeah. So, yeah, if he can clean up the tanks, then that could possibly change this game around.
Byun landing the Vikings to pick off 2 tanks. He's successful. How many Vikings is he gonna lose? He lost. Oh, he lost. He actually lost 4. That's not good. Time can really pounce on this army, and which he does, and gets rid of all the siege tanks. So even though Time is down in army supply, like he was able to get rid of those siege tanks, so he can take a breather for now.
We can probably take a breather for now, because that was a couple of intense moments there, as they were kind of trading back and forth. And looks like the game does start to stabilize, as both players are going to go ahead and reestablish that third base of theirs. Of course, Time does have a little bit of an earlier start, but this is still a huge army here for Byun. He does have a 70 to 57 army supply lead still, and the upgrades are even. So if he can kind of take advantage of this army supply advantage, then...
Oh, but that was so unfortunate for Time, because he had a single Marine trying to check the potential attack routes, and then it barely just missed Byun's army. So he's late to the repositioning, and now he has to fight without his 2 siege tanks at the 12 o'clock position. So Byun just taking a massive advantage with the follow-up attack, and Time doesn't have the sufficient units like siege tank to defend this properly. So already 20 SCVs went down, and now Byun is in complete control of this game.
Yeah, this is going to be a tough one to break out of. Although, I mean, he does have, at least, the good news is that he does have some units towards the left and towards the top righter side. So if he can kind of get a nice little concave, he may be able to break this. But look at all that reinforcements coming from Byun.
Yeah, the reinforcements just arrived, so I don't see how Time holds this. He's just gonna get massacred. Look at that tank positions coming out from Byun. Like, Time just couldn't get those, get rid of those on time, so he took a massive amount of blows. And now the 12 o'clock base is in jeopardy. And as you said, like, Time doesn't have any advantage in terms of the upgrade or the unit composition. So, it's just all Byun from here, and GG's called.
And we'll see if this guy in the bottom left can sweep this series, as he is from Shopify Rebellions, our Red Terran, Byun.
Uh-oh, we're getting proxies. Both player proxying on the top right corner with the single SCV proxying. Oh, and they're gonna encounter each other. I mean, this is bad news for Time. And Byun immediately reversed his second SCV back to his main base.
Oh, that is funny.
after spotting Time's SCV. Like, hey, what's up, man? Like, oh, you're thinking of proxying? So was I. Well, they're back to the quote-unquote standards now, although all the timings would be suboptimal compared to the conventional openers, but they're back to square one.
Yeah,
I think
much.
For Time, it's imperative for him to utilize Marines or SCVs to find which route Byun's taking to approach his attack. Because like both games, he was too late to spot those, and then he was able to just let Byun freely get that positional advantage. But he really needs to negate that aspect. Otherwise, another reiteration of the previous two games could happen.
Yeah, that's actually a great point. I mean, yeah, the lack of scouting has really cost the time these past two games, and so I would love to, as well as you said, kind of make sure he kind of clears that up. And I mean, this is a map that does have those two watchtowers, so it does kind of provide some nice little extra vision. But of course, this is a huge map, so you probably want to throw down some like spotter marines, or maybe even some spotter supply depots, and just make sure you have all the grounds covered.
Yeah, because especially at the central area, there are multiple ways that you can maneuver through without getting spotted by that towers. So it's gonna be very important for time to really spot Byun's combat unit before they approach towards his territory, or his side of the territory, I shall say. All right, so time actually going for that fast reactor once again. This time, instead of going directly into reactors, he had one Reaper, and then now followed by the reactor, and then double Reaper production. So this could most likely be the 5 Reaper 2 Hellion play that Cure has really showcased back in PSL 7. Also, Byun just playing to his standards as well. No deviation, no significant deviation from him as well. Probably be a Cyclone. Oh no, actually it's a siege tank. So he's really trying to shut down Time's aggression. And once the medevac gets out, he's probably gonna use that tank and play how he played like in Lightshade in Game 1.
Yeah, I would imagine he will be medevacing that tank across the map while attacking with his Reapers and Hellions. Maybe put on some pressure, but he can very well just like stay back and kind of D up and make sure he doesn't lose against this push here from Time. As let's see, how many units is that? That's 3 Hellions and 5 Reapers.
Yeah, so yeah, that's the conventional, the safe, quote unquote, the safest approach in TVT. But now the medevac has left, and now Time has the opportunity to really exploit this. While the medevac is reverting, already took down 6 SCVs. Right, he just has to not lose everything. All right, he gets away with 3 Hellions and a Reaper. So, and also he traded the Reapers with the combat units of Byun as well. So, I'd say that's a small victory for Time for sure.
Yeah, a little bit unlucky there for Byun. He was moving right when Time was attacking, and does suffer some solid damage for it. And now it's up to Byun to go for the counterattack and see if he can get something done and kind of even up the scoreboard.
And Time already spotted the medevac moving out at the tower, so he already has the Cyclone position to take that medevac down. But Byun, being on point with his map awareness. Right, so third CC dropped by Time, faster than Byun once again. Let's see whether he can really utilize that to his advantage. And both players both producing Ravens. We'll see how the Raven counts for both players, because that's going to be very it could be the determinant in this early to mid phases of TVT. Because the more number of Ravens you have is always good, because the number of interference matrices and auditors that you can use are more ample. But Time, sticking to the double Raven, and then immediately swaps to Viking production, and same goes for Byun as well. So both players being identical in terms of their unit composition approaches, just the Time trying to gain that economic advantage once again. And he has the right to do so, because he took down 6 SCVs, which is equivalent to 300 minerals. Also, if you think about the mining times that have been lost from those loss of 6 SCVs, that translates into 1 CC plus more. So Time can afford to play in such a way, and there's nothing much that Byun can really do besides being aggressive once again, trying to take that positional advantage. But this time also moves out with its own combat units as well. And he also places the sea snakes at the high ground first, so he's going to have all the advantages thus far.
Yeah, and Byun just lost a Raven during that as well, so that is one less Raven during that huge fight. And by the way, you know, Byun has done a nice job in terms of trying to being somewhat even in terms of the workers supply after he lost those 6 SCVs. But you got to keep in mind that that's a little bit deceiving because Time does have a 3rd CC while Byun just started his 3rd CC. So Byun is going to be lagging a bit behind unless he can kind of get some nice significant damage with this push out, which it doesn't look like he will be able to, as yeah, he kind of feels it, he knows it, and he will tap out. GG. Time will go ahead and place his first points on the scoreboard. Yeah, I mean, if at first you don't succeed, just try again, and it looks like Time will try this proxy plate once again. Gonna go ahead and place it behind this 3rd base mineral bridge here. And
yeah, and it's also going to be double SCVs instead of a single. So
yeah, so of course, you know, with 2 SCVs, you can kind of mine 1 mineral patch, and it will free up the area, and that will allow the whatever unit comes out to just move across and get into the natural.
Exactly. And is Byun actually going for CC first? Reaper CC?
Well, he doesn't have a second gas, so
yeah. So yeah.
Oh boy.
He's in a heap of trouble.
Oh boy.
He's in a heap of trouble. This could escalate very quickly, and we can just have a 2-2 game going to the rubber match.
And he didn't even send out a scout, so he's not even gonna be able to scout this.
Well, I mean, because he tried to proxy as well, and he spotted Time's SCV in the previous game, so he's just trying to play mind games here. All right, this time I'm not even gonna bother scout, and because the map is also romanticized, like he's trying to be as greedy as possible, but Time is like, nah, you'll probably be greedy, and then I'll just punish you with my double Rex proxy double Rex Reapers. So Time essentially won the mind game versus Byun here.
Yeah,
if Byun's not careful, then this game can end within the next 30 seconds to a minute.
I think it's pretty much over. I mean, this is pretty much a build order loss for Byun, I would imagine. I mean,
and also he's putting. I'm sorry, he's putting a reactor on right now, so he can't even produce any combat units.
Oh, he supply blocks. Okay, there we go. Free up some supply.
Ouch. Yeah, this is brutal.
Yeah,
I don't think he can even finish the CC. Yep, GG.
Well, anyhow, we are here in our final game of the series to determine who will be our winner of the series. First up, spawning at the top right, got our red Terran player representing and playing for Shopify Rebellion. Give it up for Byun.
All right, at the 7 o'clock position at the bottom left corner. He was on the verge of getting a shutout, but he has made his way back into this series. It's Kaiji Gaming's time.
All right, looks like this
Snoopy,
time around.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
All right. What do you prefer? Do you prefer a 5-game series with quick games, or do you prefer 3-game series with longer games? I'm just curious.
I mean, of course, the best will be a balance between the two. I think it's always like the best series has relatively short games, but also relatively long games as well. But between those two options, I would say probably my preference will be the 5 games with quick games, because at the very least we'll have some at least quick action to start off the games.
Sure.
And so the longer game sometimes it takes a little bit of a long time to kind of ramp up and kind of goes into a little bit of a lull before the action picks up. So yeah, I guess I will prefer the 5 game option. How about you?
Okay. Yeah, I'll prefer the 5 games as well. Like I don't want to like watch like 3 40-minute games of TVT, being like all stagnant and just
Yeah.
during the ring around Rosie, all that. So
yeah,
but here,
maybe if it was a
actually
TV series, I think I wouldn't mind the long games. But yeah, in the TVT series, I think not great.
Sure, because TVZ is much more dynamic than TBT, even when it hits the late game too. So. But this time actually going for the 1-Rax Reaper CC on his own, also getting the safety valve bunker on top of the ramp. So there is a slight change here. I punished you doing 1-Rax CC, so you're not gonna commit to that once again. So this time I'll just utilize the 1-Rax CC to gain the economic advantage of your own.
Yep, kind of doing a little bit of mind games, kind of playing very aggressively one game and then follow up with another game that's more defensively. So yeah, it looks like Time is looking to kind of play it into the mid game here, while Byun, on the other hand, let's see what he has. He does have the barracks with the reactor. Got some some widow mines.
For defensive purposes, most likely.
Yep.
To catch any Reapers/Hellions that are invading to his natural.
Oh, actually, you know what? You could probably like lift or do a drop into Time's base with these couple of units that he has here, and maybe try to catch Time off guard.
Yeah, I think he's planning to do a drop using those Marines, Reapers, and Hellions as well. And that's why the Widow Mine is the safety valve here for Byun. Because if they cross paths each other without knowing, then the Widow Mine can really blow up a huge chunk of units when they're all packed together. So
yeah, doesn't want to have the same thing happen that happened in the 2000 Atmospheres game.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, here we go. It looks like he doesn't quite see the drop. Now he does, and let's see how many SCV kills he can get. But actually, the Army of Time is in the right position, so we will go ahead and defend this for the time being.
Yeah, and also he already has a Viking out too. So instead of producing a Raven, he immediately went for the Viking first, in case such medevac-based harassments can come through. So I think it's great response and great read coming up from Time.
Yeah, for sure.
With no damage, he went much faster CC, so his economy is gonna get booming soon. Now the only thing that Time will be behind will be the Raven count, but he can really compensate for that using the sheer Viking advantage as well. So all's gonna boil down to the micromanagement of the Raven versus Viking, as well as the tanks once the tanks start to come in play for Byun as well. And so Byun, realizing that he's already behind in terms of the CC timing of the natural, so he's getting the third CC on site, which is a wise thing to do if you want to play catch up.
Even sending 2 SCVs to build that because he wants to tag along.
And just in case the SCV that is committing the construction gets picked off, just to help out his boy. But Byun, uncharacteristically, he was supply blocked for a while there. So now you can see the slight difference in the army supply between Time and Byun, and that's mostly because of the amount of time that he was supply blocked. He's got to be really meticulous with that Raven. He's got to repair that ASAP. If that goes down, then he really has no safety valves available for him to hold that third CC.
All right, a little bit of a standstill here. Now, Stim is about to finish for Byun, also for Time, although Byun's Stim will be just a tad bit faster, but he doesn't quite have a lot of army here, it just seems like.
Yeah, but also if you look at the siege tank count, it's 4-1 right now. So you know, Byun, even though the stim is done earlier, like he has to really be careful. Right? And then the medevac gets gunned down as well by the Viking. This doesn't look for Byun. This doesn't look good for Byun at all at this point. He really needs to position these siege tanks accordingly. Right now he has some defensive measures. Oh, time landing the Vikings. I'm not sure about that one.
But the tank did get a nice little pot shot out of those clumped up Marines. So.
Two. Oh, okay. And another volley just crushing those Marines as well. But as you can see, the supply has been inverted. Now Byun has the 8 worker advantage. So it's just a matter of can he hold or not. But I think the answer is yes, he can hold. Unless he's losing these siege tanks carelessly. It's 4-2 thus far. So you just really gotta be meticulous with the siege tank.
I'm a little bit afraid here for Byun. I mean, Time can very much do the slow push, and Byun doesn't have enough to deal with that. Maybe he can pull the SCVs and just go for a YOLO play and try to clean up the rest of the tanks. But at this point, that's still a risk. So let's see if he does decide to go for that, or whether he just decides to just move his third CC. But it will take some time to flow across to the other 12 o'clock base.
Well, at least he was able to get rid of all the Vikings coming out from Time. So if he can gain the air control, then he should be able to stabilize. But now Time, going for that double medevac drop, but Byun is on top of it.
All right, looks like Byun is starting to stabilize. He defended or pushed back the tank push, and then he defended the drop. I think, yeah, he doesn't need to move his CC to the other base. So, yeah, gonna go ahead and remind that. And all in all, I mean, the worker supply pretty even. Byun does have the little bit of a small army supply lead, and yeah, I think not too bad of a defense.
Now, the biggest discrepancy right now is that Byun started the army really late. Time already started his 2-2 upgrade, so Time can really exploit this once he figures this out. Once he clicks on Byun's Marine and like, oh, you still have only 1-1 and I have 2-2, I'll just pounce on you. So it really boils down to the positional maneuvers coming out from both players' combat units. If Byun gets caught out of position even once, then Time can really annihilate Byun's combat units and just take the game away from there. Because of that upgrade advantage that's gonna kick in within the next minute and a half or so.
Yeah, there's gonna be a small timing window where Time can really punish Byun for that late armory there.
Yeah, and also as you can see, Time also started the siege tank weapon upgrade as well. So, and Time utilizing the Marines and gets a cancel on the 4th base of Byun. Is he gonna pick up the siege tank too? And the answer is yes. Yeah, he's getting a lot of value using these Marines, which only cost minerals. So it was great play coming out from Time there. I think it was totally worth it. You delay the timing of the 4th base, as well as you get rid of the important unit and siege tank. But great job by Time.
Yeah, so far so good. And gonna go ahead and start getting his 4th base as well as Byun.
Yep. Although Time's CC is already done, whereas Byun is like only 1/3 done. So Time just trying to snowball the advantage that he gained from the early phase as much as possible, and see whether he can translate that into a dub. That's the biggest question, right? Whether he can translate that into a dub or not, because you can roll the snowball how much ever you want. If you can't translate that into a win, then it's quite meaningless. So.
Well, the 2-2 has finished for Time, and it looks like Byun is still lagging behind. I'm not sure if he wants to take a fight right now, because of the upgrade deficit, but it looks like he should buy enough time to have that finish before the fight actually commences. And oh, actually these tanks on the left side. Okay, there we go. Nice little scan there.
Yeah, and also because the number of Vikings are comparable to each other, now he's getting the Liberators to push back those siege tanks. So Time really needs to ramp up the number of Vikings as much as possible so that he can gain air control to push those Liberators out of range. And once again, the upgrade discrepancy is going to come in within the next couple of minutes when 3-3 hits for time first. Now the only matter is, can he take advantage of that? Because at 2-2 he didn't, and that's because of Byun's aggressive maneuver to pin time at his territory. Alright, here's the big fight.
Oh, I think it might have been a mistake there to go up that ramp by a time. We'll lose a lot of army there, army supply.
Yeah, because the 3 siege tanks from Byun was constantly shooting volleys, whereas Time's siege tanks, they were out of range. So the ones at the bottom were out of range. So that DPS, the significant DPS loss, really translated into a huge victory for Byun right there. And on top of that, Time lost 10 SCVs. So, seems like Byun started to regain control of this game.
Yeah, now the saving grace for Time is that he does have the air advantage. Currently does have 7 Vikings compared to only 1 Liberator of Byun, so that could be kind of his saving grace here. We shall see.
Yeah, but he gotta use the Vikings into his advantage though. The Vikings were out of position and he actually took a significant amount of damage on his siege tanks. And Byun, wisely utilizing the medevac with the Marines, trying to get rid of those siege tanks as well, and he was able to successfully get rid of 2 of them.
Yeah, really smart play there by Byun, noticing that the Vikings were not in position to defend those left side tanks. And
yeah,
here we go.
Once again, the 7-0 Viking advantage, and he's getting his siege tanks picked off. Like, this shouldn't be happening.
Once again, Byun maneuvering so well, picking off these little wins and advantages.
Now, if Time can stabilize for a couple of minutes from here, then he will start to really gain an advantage because he's ramping up that Raven count. And he already got all those necessary upgrades for the Ravens too, so, And just Byun caught him at the right time while he was transitioning to that Mass Raven composition, so. If Time can hold here, then he should be in a good spot. There goes the interference matrices.
Oh, that was that was beautifully done there. It does allow Time to break through, grab the supply lead once again. And
yeah, if he disabled the 2 tanks at the backside with the interference matrices as well, then he wouldn't have lost like essentially anything there.
Yeah,
those 2 siege tanks were the saving graces for Byun. And once again, the interference matrix is coming in handy, but he's got to be careful. A lot of Ravens went down. He only has a single Raven left. And Byun just trying to make the most out of it with his Marines. He's doing it thus far.
Yeah, these Marines are so efficient, grabbing or at least delaying some of these economic mining here of the 3rd base. But you know what? Things start to stabilize here. The reinforcements are joining up as well. And it looks like Byun will have to back out for the time being. He might want to go ahead and just like attack the other bases here on the maybe the 9 o'clock or maybe even the 6 o'clock instead of going straight into that 3 o'clock base, or sorry, that 3rd base there.
Yeah, once again, Byun tried to pounce onto Time's siege tanks, but this time took a lot of blows there from Time's siege tanks. So, and now guess what, Snoopy? The upgrade advantage is no longer present for Time.
Yeah, he has not made use of that upgrade advantage throughout this whole game, and now it's pretty much gone. So he will have to go ahead and, instead of relying on upgrade advantages, we'll have to rely on strategy.
Yeah, and the biggest advantage he has over Byun right now is the Raven count. But he really has to be meticulous in terms of keeping the number of Raven counts as much as possible. He can't be losing like 4 Ravens to those Marines with these. And here, once again, Byun trying to focus fire the Raven, barely survived. Now the CC, the orbital is going down. Which is great use of the combat units coming out from Byun. Taking down 20 as the entire mineral plus gas line of that expo has been annihilated. Alright, here goes the anti-armor missile onto the siege tanks, but is that gonna be enough? You really gotta hit the anti-armor missile onto the Marines. And here, the siege tanks getting picked off. This is great play coming out from Byun. One after another. Oh, he's gonna just crush this.
Yeah. Oh yeah. He cleans up absolutely everything. And does.
And meanwhile, the siege tank war has been won by Byun as well at the 9 o'clock position. That was a one-on-one duel, and thanks to the assistance of the scan, Byun's siege tank was able to prevail, and there's the quote-unquote contain. I'm not even sure we can call that a contain, but you know what? At least it's a somewhat of a contain, right?
Yeah.
Here's the 8 Marine draw. The medevac with 8 Marines, probably gonna drop at the back of the mineral line. Yep.
Oh,
this is so brutal.
Yeah.
This is so brutal. Ryan's probably thinking in his head, like, how did I even watch this game?
Yeah. I mean, TBT can be like that sometimes. You have a lead and all of a sudden it disappears just because of one play.
Yeah. Byun's up 40 supply. I think he's gonna seal the deal here.
Yeah, Byun has pretty much taken his half side of the map. And, looks like we're gonna have another squabble here out in the middle.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, Byun just has too much on the ground, and after a back and forth game, after a tied series, Byun will claim victory on that 5th game and will claim victory on this series.